Random facts you didn't know. A hippo's jaw opens wide enough to fit a sports car inside. In 1990, myalgian strongman Ramasamy Lechamana used his hair to pull a Boeing 737 aircraft in Kuala Lumpur 17 meters, 56 ft, setting a new world record. His abilities were passed on to his daughter, who pulled a truck with her hair in 2002. 6 generations back, you have 64 great-great-great-grandparents. Every 4 minutes and 13 seconds, enough wool is produced around the world to make a jumper big enough for the Statue of Liberty to wear. It would take 19 minutes to fall from the North Pole to Earth's core. If provided with a mirror, dolphins will admire their own genitals. Octopuses are usually very antisocial, but when they're under the influence of ecstasy, they are more willing to spend time around each other or even hug other octopuses. Michael Jackson's hair caught on fire at the exact median day of his life. He had a literal midlife crisis. A cow is more aerodynamic than a Jeep Wrangler. Between 1913 and 1914, Sigmund Freud, an Austrian painter, Joseph Stalin, Emperor Franz Joseph, Archduke Franz Ferdinand, and Leon Trotsky lived in Vienna within 4 kilometers of each other. A blue whale's fart bubble is large enough to hold a horse. If it were brighter, the Andromeda Galaxy would appear 6 times bigger than a full moon. Every Fruit Loop is the same flavor, regardless of the color. It costs roughly $20,000 to send a kilogram of mass into orbit. So if the largest whale on Earth weighs approximately 163,293 kilograms, it costs over $3.2 billion to launch your mom into space. There are more trees on Earth than stars in the Milky Way. Penguins, boo-boo, with the greatest force of any known animal, as if they did it slower, they would lose internal body heat. At the time of the French Revolution, the majority of people in France did not speak French. The continent with the highest average education level is Antarctica. Tag that one friend with boo-boo grades who is bringing your whole continent down. In 1987, American Airlines saved $40,000 by removing 1 olive from every first-class salad. A random dude can dig a hole, and they will think, hell yeah. Guys can read the minds of other guys. Our minds are all connected wirelessly, so whenever you see 2 boys look at each other without saying a word, you know they thought of the same thing. Guys can detect if the other guy is gay or straight, so girls, there is no need to say he is your gay bestie. Guys will always have a roster. Guys love compliments because they don't hear them often. Guys, forgive me for revealing our secrets. P.S. I am 5'1" at 18. Am I cooked? If your bum were just 16 inches wider, you could lodge an average-sized chessboard in it. There is a whale called 52 Blue that only sings at their frequency, meaning it can't communicate with other whales. It is nicknamed the loneliest whale on the planet. Americans on average eat 18 acres of pizza every day. The word mortgage comes from a French term that means death pledge, or a contract that only expires upon death. The average horse ejaculation is about the same amount of calories as a Burger King Whopper. The alligator penis is permanently erect. In the old days, poor people would sell their teeth to rich people. The human has 2 anal sphincters. The first one we have no control over, but the second one, of course, we can control. When the stool comes through the first sphincter, the urge to go to the bathroom is felt. Over 40% of murders in the USA go unsolved. Slavery is still one of the most profitable trades in the modern world. Your anus relaxes and contracts when you laugh. If you sit down to dump in prison, remove 1 foot completely from your pants so you can get up and fight if attacked. Tea bags stop bleeding. They have an acid called tannic, which is a natural clotting agent. Drink vodka if you get antifreeze in your system. If the ocean water suddenly recedes at the beach, a tsunami is probably coming. Run. Don't look at the fish. If you see a male who's been in an accident and he has a massive boner, then he likely has spinal damage. You should not move him in the slightest unless otherwise directed. Octopus detaches and throws a modified arm penis covered with sperm at their mate. Yo, bro, fire your stick at that girl. A baby could swim in a blue whale's veins. That's how huge it is. Before he became president, Abraham Lincoln was an elite wrestling champion. In 300 matches, he only lost one. The great strength it took to break the chains. You could thread fishing wire through your tear duct and out your bum hole. They're connected, and fishing wire is thin enough. Netflix has trouble recommending you titles after viewing Napoleon Dynamite. Try it yourself. If a dolphin nutted in a human, the organ it entered would explode from the sheer force. You can smell your own lungs. Your brain just filters it out. The world's largest tire producer by total number of tires made is Lego. The largest cell in the human body is the female egg. The smallest is the male sperm. The largest and smallest cells create life. Everyone starts off their life as a bumhole. Humans are deuterostomes, which means that when they develop in the womb, the bumhole forms before any other opening. Lobsters pee out of their faces, from right under their eyes. Pet food companies have a few very well-paid people on staff to taste test their products. Netflix was founded before Google. Your brain prefers to default your mood back to one that you've made comfortable for yourself. So you can literally train yourself to default back to being sad, or being happy, or being anxious, etc. The Monopoly game was created by anti-capitalists to prove that capitalism was unfair. But it got stolen by the actual owners who trademarked it and made millions. They also removed the small lines that says, "It is about how bad capitalism is in real life." When the Pope dies, they hit him on the head with a silver mallet 3 times and say his name to make sure he's dead. Squid brains are donut-shaped, and their esophagus runs through it. If a squid eats something too big, it can get brain damage. Ants were actually one of the first species to develop agriculture in the form of growing different types of fungus. Yoda and Miss Piggy were both voiced by the same person. Falling coconuts kill more people than sharks. Eugene Aldrin, the father of the famous moon landing astronaut Buzz Aldrin, not only witnessed the Wright brothers' first flight, but also went to see his son land on the moon in his lifespan. If you make it to the airport without dying, you've already passed the deadliest part of plane travel. In Switzerland, it is illegal to own just one guinea pig because they are very social animals. It's considered animal abuse to only have one. Jupiter gravitational mass is so immense, modern science believe it's been protecting us from meteors for millions of years. Stan Lee started creating the Fantastic Four, Spider-Man, Iron Man, etc. at around 40. So even if you think that you can't get anything out of life, you still can push yourself creatively and leave a lasting impact on the world at an older age. The sun accounts for 99% of the total mass in our solar system. The average distance between asteroids in the asteroid belt is twice the distance between the Earth and Moon. You could fly through the asteroid belt while texting or even taking a nap without fear of hitting anything. Think about that next time a movie shows flying through an asteroid belt. At light speed, it would take around 4 years to reach our closest star, Alpha Centauri. At 20% that speed, currently the goal via solar sails, it will take 25 years. If the Tarantula Nebula were as close to us as the Orion Nebula, it would fill nearly half the sky and be bright enough to cast shadows. The dishwasher causes more domestic conflict than any other household appliance. A broken clock is right twice a day, while a late clock is never right. But if you figure out how late the clock is, it's still usable as a regular clock. The broken one is useless. There is a human with the least human genetic makeup. Neurology is studying human brain by a human brain. Word count is, by definition, the most accurate measurement for book length. But everyone only cares about the number of pages. In multiplication tables, it gets decreasingly useful to know the increasingly big numbers. The International Space Station is the third brightest object in the sky after the sun and the moon. A full moon is 9-10 times brighter than a half moon due to the lunar regolith having retroreflective properties. Due to the effects of time dilation, if you had a spacecraft that could continuously accelerate at 1G indefinitely, you could cross the entire Milky Way in about 12 years, despite traveling about 100,000 light-years. The Sun's 230 million-year orbit around the galactic center is wavy, going up above and down below the galactic plane. The Sun is currently 55 years above the galactic plane. You can survive 15 seconds in hard vacuum. You also would freeze solid in 12-24 hours after failing to get into a suit. Stupider isn't a word, but ironically makes you sound more stupid for saying it. A trash can is the only item that you buy, take the packaging off, and then put the packaging in the product. The largest number you can think of is still closer to 0 than it is to infinity. The only person that can verify consciousness exists is you. Wireless chargers limit your movement more than wired chargers do. Ambulances are tow trucks for humans. Tow trucks transport disabled and damaged vehicles, and ambulances transport disabled and damaged humans. Prison is really just legal kidnapping. It's mind-blowing that many of us are a paycheck away from being homeless. There is no physical evidence to say that today is Friday. We all just have to trust that someone has kept count since the first one, ever. If you are waiting on the waiter, doesn't that make you the waiter? Fish who are caught and released are like the aquatic equivalent of people who claim to have been abducted by aliens. If the Pokemon Sudowoodo is made of rocks, does that mean you can use a dead Sudowoodo's fingers as marbles? Sleeping on your stomach is the most likely position to produce erotic dreams.